It's kind of scripted. Hey, it's kind of scripted. What's going on with you, world? It's Willie Barnes here, and we're doing kind of scripted. And this is the hashtag kind of scripted, the webinar series where we look to bring you experts in a variety of different fields. Today we have a very special guest in the building. You know, not to sound like Buddy from Breakfast Club, but we got a very special guest in the building, right? And my guy, you know, I'm gonna let you know who he is here in a little bit, but the information that we're looking to provide you today, you know, if you're able to connect the dots with this particular strategy, you know, it's a way for you to tap into some cash and resources that, you know, I love to talk about. But, you know, as you know, again, I'm Willie Barnes. You know, I'm author, founder, entrepreneur, but, you know, I'm passionate, absolutely passionate about instilling a mindset of purpose, passion, and authority into the community so we can go out there and create our heaven on earth. Right? Because I believe that, you know, we get one shot, one life to live, and why not live in our dream, right? Why not live in our heaven now? And, you know, the purpose of my publishing and education company, Willie James Books, is to, again, do this, instill a mindset of purpose, passion, and authority so that the community understands and recognizes that they have everything it takes to go create their heaven out here on earth. And so, as you know, my first book, Manipulate Homeownership, Your Cash and Resource Machine, you know, really talks about how it emphasizes and teaches the mindset that we look to empower when it comes to homeownership. You know, oftentimes, you know, the way that we've been trained and set up is that homeownership is one of those things to where, you know, it's somewhere for us to stay. You know, we like to look at it and talk about it as an investment, but I don't really think we take the time to really view our home as an investment. And so through the book, you know, I really explain the mindset of how to think when it comes to utilizing your home as an investment tool to make your dream a reality. And today, we're going to talk to my guy, Evan Batista, okay? He is a mortgage consultant and loan officer for the mortgage firm here in the Orlando, Florida area. But nonetheless, he's gonna talk to us today about the cash out refinance. Okay, the cash out refinance. And specifically, the purpose of this webinar is to teach homeowners about the cash out refinance and the steps to qualify for one. Okay, and again, Evan's our cash out refi expert. I'm gonna introduce my guy here in a little bit, but you know, what a time to be alive. Okay, what a time to be alive. Like, information is at our fingertips. We can just go to Google, go to YouTube, and figure out how to make a power play. Like, that is extremely powerful. And, you know, right now, you know, if you're watching this, we're actually recording this mid-April of 2020. You know, this Rona is out here and things got a little weird for a little bit, but this Rona, COVID-19, you know, has propelled the market, propelled us into a down market, right? And what a down market means is essentially assets are on sale, okay? One of my favorite authors, Robert Kiyosaki, you know, he explains how the wealthy and the people with the wealthy mindset, they don't work for paychecks. They work to buy assets, and their assets produce cash flow, right? So at times like this, when the market goes down, many assets go on sale for a large discount, but I'm not an expert on that, right? So I don't necessarily want you to believe me. I want you to go do your own research. You know, go online, go to Google, go to your financial advisor, and you go look at properties, go look at the stock market, go look at investment properties, and you tell me, are they cheaper now than they were 6 months ago? Or are they more expensive now than they were 6 months ago? I guarantee you're gonna find that there's some stuff that's on sale, right? And I'm gonna be real, people are able to elevate their kingdoms, elevate their lifestyles, elevate the next generation to come during times like this, right? During times like this. And because they're able to go buy those assets that Kiyosaki's talking about at a discount. And guess what? What goes up must come down and vice versa. So all of this stuff, all these assets that have gone down, that have gone on sale, even though they're down now, guess what? At some point, they're going to go back up, right? They're going to go back up. And for those who have cash, for those who are liquid and have cash to actually buy the assets that are on sale, they're going to profit big and they're going to elevate their family, their lifestyle, and they're going to position themselves to go create generational wealth. But again, don't believe me, right? Go consult with your trusted financial professional. With that being said, again, today, my guy, Evan, he's going to teach us about, how to utilize home ownership, specifically the cash out refinance, how to utilize that to tap into cash and resources so we can take advantage of times like this, right? But even if the times weren't where they are now, you will still know how to utilize this tool and how to utilize your home to tap into cash and resources so you can go make a power play, whether that's, start a business, send your kids to school, do whatever you need to do. This is an example of one way you can utilize your home to tap into the cash and resources you have, okay? So again, today we have my guy, Evan Batista of the mortgage firm. He's our cash out refi expert. And he's gonna explain to us exactly what we need to do to qualify to execute the cash out refinance, okay? I truly believe this information, when used correctly, can elevate, a family's position and position us to create generational wealth. So, Evan, I want to say thank you so much for your time. Before we get started, I do want to, ask you a few questions about who you are and, what you're passionate about. So, everybody, welcome my guy, Evan Batista, to the building. What's going on with you, brother?
What's going on? What's going on? I'm not in my normal element of being in the office, so you probably see the house in the background. This Rona, like you said, man, this thing is really throwing everybody for a loop.
Yeah, it is, bro. It is. But, what a blessing to be alive, right? What a blessing to be alive, and more so be able to tell the people about, what we're able to do to position ourselves to make power plays. But, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, Evan?
So I was born in New York. I'm actually first generation Cuban. Parents were born in Cuba. So I guess you can say I'm an immigrant, but I was born over here. I've been in Florida since '95 and graduated from UCF, went to a prep school over here in Eatonville. Been out here since '95. So I'm pretty much a Floridian at this point.
Hey, no, for sure. You're here since '95. You're definitely a Floridian. Definitely.
Count it.
And shout out to Eatonville. A lot of people know about Eatonville, man.
They don't.
I feel like didn't some African Americans, some black folk found Eatonville?
Pretty much. I think it's the oldest, what is it, town in Central Florida, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, there's a lot of history out there. I know I've gone out there a little bit. Went to a museum here or there, but I think there's some special history that if you hadn't heard of Eatonville, Florida, out here in the Metro Orlando area, go do a Google search, see what it's talking about. But hey, Evan, tell me, what are you passionate about, bro? What's your background outside of where you grew up, going to UCF? What are you passionate about? I know you work with some kids and some theater type performing art stuff, don't you?
Right. So I'm part of Dream City, and basically what they do is they give back to the community, and pretty much they keep kids out of trouble through using the skills that they have and then putting a platform out there so they can kind of expel their energy and actually be able to focus in school. So growing up, had you had an outlet to be able to use your energy and your talents in a way that is productive, then we probably wouldn't be in the trouble and some of the things that we got into when we was younger. But I mean, I don't know about you, but I really didn't have a platform to do the things that I was naturally inclined to do. So that's what we do at Dream City. We have performing arts, we have dance classes, we have things like that, where the kids can come in and display their talents. And we do musicals, there's screenplays, there's writing, there's a little bit of everything. And we're doing this in the inner city to kind of, because, you know, Dr. Phillips is not coming to Pine Hills, you know, so we put it in an area where there's a lot of talent, but it hasn't been harnessed because of where it's located.
That's powerful.
That's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So where can they find more information about that? You know, if there's some parents watching this and they have some children who, you know, one, need to find something to do in this spare time, especially with us coming up into these summer months, and two, you know, if they've got some children who have some talent, they just didn't know where to start, you know, where can they find more information about that?
So if you go to dreamcityorlando.com, you're going to have all the information on the website. They also have an Instagram. It's Dream City ORL, and you can find out more, or you can just contact me directly, and we'll have that information for you. We got a play coming up. Once everything with the Rona kind of settles out, we have some things. We had some things planned, but they got postponed. So whenever the world opens up again, we'll be back to doing our plays and musicals back to normal.
That's cool, man. We're gonna make sure we put that in the description and we highlight that, because again, that's what it's about, man. It's about this next generation, these children, you know, because I mean, really, that's why, you know, we're kind of having this conversation, because I'm passionate about setting up the next generation. And again, the cash out refi is one way for us to do that, to take advantage and make power moves. But, you know, that's fire, bro. That is super fire. Tell us, what led you to get into the mortgage world? What led you to, you know, become who you are today?
So long story short, I've always been a numbers guy, always loved math. And I started, this is funny, I started doing taxes and accounting when I was like 14 or 15 at the time. It wasn't even legal to work at that time. So I was working under an accountant who was paying me off the books, but he's an accountant, evading taxes, like all type of stuff. But needless to say, I learned a whole lot, liked the industry, and it was just a little bit boring. So I went to UCF, got my degree in entrepreneurship, had a couple ventures here and there, and came back to what I naturally like, which is dealing with numbers, dealing with just kind of like finance and things like that. So that's how I ended up coming back to the mortgage world. I actually graduated in 2008, which is very similar to what we got going on right now. It's kind of like everything is on fire right now, and not in a good way, unless you can see, you know, opportunity, right? And that's what we're talking about today, being able to see in the midst of adversity, seeing opportunity. And that's really what you're highlighting. And I think it's so great that you're creating this platform where people can get this information and not so much freak out, but see the opportunity where you can jump in the market and kind of capitalize where other people are pulling out. So this is kind of how it got here.
Hey, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. I'm gonna start with, you know, what people misunderstand about mortgages, because, you know, they don't teach us this in school. So you got to kind of learn the hard way. You know, it really starts out like, I think I want to buy a house. Where do I start, right? And being, you know, a real estate professional, typically they start to reach out to a real estate agent, and that real estate agent got to say, I'm not showing you nothing, right? Until you go talk to my guy, until you go talk to the money guy. So, you know, tell me, you know, what's a misconception, or, you know, something that people tend to misunderstand when it comes to mortgages?
I mean, there's a lot of misconceptions. I can literally talk about Zillow and Realtor.com and a whole bunch of things as you deal with. But I think the biggest thing is people thinking that they can afford a mortgage, or why they can't get pre-approved, even though their apartment or wherever they're living is more expensive than what they can get approved for. I think that's the biggest misconception. And kind of how I break it down to people is like, you can date somebody who's out of your league, right? But you can't marry them, right? Because you don't have enough. You can sustain to date them for a year, you know, a year and a half, 2 years, but to really lock that down and marrying them for the long term, you just don't got what it takes. You know, you could sustain for a little bit, but you're not gonna run the race.
Right, right.
So
You're gonna come up short in that marathon.
and you're gonna short in your marriage. You know what I'm saying? So that the same thing, you're gonna be short on your mortgage. So people really don't understand how kind of the finance world works. They read, because of the technology and where we're at today, people can go ahead and Google, and there's a lot of information out there, and they speak to their baby daddy's cousin, uncle, who didn't go to school for finance, you know, and don't have a house. Like, a lot of the things is people getting information from not sources that are credible and haven't done what you're trying to do, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, before we go into the refinance, because I kind of want to stay here for a second, for that person who is asking around, asking around and figuring out what play or what they need to do in order to qualify for whatever it may be, whether it's a refinance, to buy a house, where should they start?
Really, you should be speaking to a lender.
Yeah.
And really a lender, I would say someone who doesn't work at a bank. And the reason why I say someone who doesn't work at a bank, unless you have A+ credit and you got, 5, 10, 20% to put down, you shouldn't really go to the bank, because they're not going to take the time that a smaller lender will go ahead and kind of put you in the right direction, right? You go to the bank, they run your credit, they look at your assets, and they're like, approve or deny, right? They don't tell you what you need to do. So you really need to get with somebody who is going to educate you and tell you, hey, this is why we're not approving. This is how much we need. This is what you need to do for your credit. And this is how it works.
Powerful. So what exactly does it mean, Evan, to refinance a mortgage?
So what you're doing, what it means is basically when you refinance is exactly what you're doing, right? What the word says, you're which means to do again, and then finance. So pretty much what you're doing is you're financing something that you already have financed. So what you're doing is you're setting up a whole new loan based on kind of where you're at today and what you're wanting to do. So in essence, you're pretty much starting the buying process all over again, where you're just actually not looking for a home, but you're just doing the finance portion of it again to kind of restructure the loan. That's what a refinance is.
Understood. And I understand that there's a few different types of refinances. And, what we're going to talk about today is the cash out refi, because that's right now I'm really looking to help empower people to know that they have access to cash and resources if, their setup is set up accordingly. So what exactly is a cash out refinance?
So a cash out refinance is pretty much what it sounds like. You're refinancing the original loan and you're taking cash out, right? As property values go up, you have what is called equity, right? And I'm sure you're going to go into this in your series, but equity is the difference between what you bought the house originally for what you currently owe on the home. And the difference is the equity, right? So the people who purchased a home back in 2010, after the crash, 2011, all the way to 2014, 15, they've seen their values on their homes appreciate, right? So like, for example, my mom bought her house in 2011. We're over here near UCF. She bought it for 100 grand, right? We needed 10 grand to put in the property. So we put a little money in the property. So let's say all in all, we 110. The neighbor next door is selling their house for 240, right? And our house is nicer than hers. But anyways, we owe about 80 grand and the house is worth 240. So the difference is the equity, and you can tap into that equity and pull the money out. And you haven't really done anything to make that difference. Is just kind of how the real estate market works. And it works both ways. You can increase in value and you can decrease and lose value on your home, kind of depending on what the real estate world is doing, kind of what's going on with the stock market and all that.
Understood. And I mean, that's a perfect example right there, and I want to make sure, since we used your mom as an example, really want to kind of paint that picture real quick to show numbers and how a cash out refi, if you're in front of an opportunity, how a cash out refi can give you exactly what you need to make that power play. Because if you put 80,000 on a house and the market value of that house is 240 minus 80 is, you know what I'm saying? That's $160,000 worth of equity, right? Obviously, you know, and so let's say you wanted to make a play, whether it's you wanted to go scoop up, you know, I'm just going to use this as an example. This is not what is actually going on. I am not a financial consultant. Do not. This is an example. Let's say Amazon stock is normally, I'm going to use random numbers. Let's say Amazon stock is normally $200 a share, right? And because of that Rona, right, the market has gone down, right? Because what goes up must come down, and what goes down is going to go up. Let's say Amazon stock goes down to $5 a share. These are random numbers. Goes down to $5 a share. You're like, we know Amazon's going to go back up to 200, right? But I need cash in order to go make that power play. So what if you went and did a cash out refi, right? Instead of tapping into that full 160, 180, wherever we said that how much, $160,000 worth of equity, let's say you went and got $50,000 from a cash out refi, right? And went and took $50,000 and bought $50,000 worth of Amazon stock. When it goes back up to $200 a share, you probably just got rich, right? And I'm, again, just using that as an example. Those are not real numbers. That's not a real situation. I'm just showing you how there's cash there. In our homes, like he said, like Evan said, if you bought, you know, specifically between like 2010, 2011 to 2014, you're probably sitting on some equity. The real estate market's the last market to get hit when it comes to, you know, seeing property values go down. So you're still probably sitting in the money. And so whether it's a business you want to start, whether it's you want to go out here and buy some of these assets, whether it's you want to go buy an investment property that was once $200,000, but now you have a seller who lost their job due to unforeseen circumstances, and now they just want to sell it for $50,000, you can have it. You can tap into your equity utilizing a cash out refi, right, to go get the cash and resources you need to make a power play. That's what Manipulate Homeownership is about. Tapping into your home to make the power play. It's not just, our home is not just a place to stay. It is an investment tool if used correctly. 100% an investment tool if used correctly. If we don't use it correctly, it is a liability, just like our electric bill, our car, right? It is a liability because if you stop working, that bill is not going to pay itself, okay? So even though it's considered a liability because it doesn't make money for you, if you look at it and think about it and approach it like an investment and stay on top of the market, you know, stay on top of what your equity position, when opportunities present themselves, if you're sitting in the money, if you're sitting with equity, you can come to your mortgage expert, your cash out refi expert, like Evan here, right? Go do a refinance, a cash out refi, pull out $50,000, $100,000. That's just like money being in the bank. You can go make the power play. So that's what I'm passionate about. If you're not able to tell by my voice, that's what this is about. But so now, Evan, tell me, how can a homeowner qualify to receive a cash out refinance?
So I just want to rewind right quick, since you were talking about Amazon and stocks. I was looking at Disney, and I had seen Disney drop like crazy because, you know, I mean, nobody's going to Disney right now because of what's going on. So I was like, let me check on Disney. Let me check on the airlines. Disney dropped to like $84, $85 a share. And I'm like, dog, I want to spend this little $3-4 grand that I got to buy these stocks, but I'm like, I don't want to take the risk right now. Fast forward a week and a half, 2 weeks, they're at $105 a share. So that's a quick $20 a share, you know, and if you bought 20 shares, you made a quick 400, not really doing anything. But now if you had a cash out and you had 20, 30 grand, you multiply and it becomes exponentially greater. So being able, and like Willie said, we're not financial experts. We're not giving you advice. We're just simply giving you examples on kind of what you can do with the money just to get your wheels turning so you can make a smart investment move based on what you know, what you see, and what you want to do with that money.
Yeah. Hey, please consult. This, in the real estate world, we're all about disclosure, right? Please consult with your financial consultant, a licensed financial consultant. We're not giving financial advice, just merely painting a picture with examples, like Evan said, to get your wheel spinning. But yeah, like we said, how can a homeowner qualify to receive a cash out refinance? I know because of the situation we're in, things are a little different now. It may be a little more difficult than it was, let's say, 6 months ago. But what would a homeowner need to do in order to qualify?
So really, in order for you to qualify for a cash out refi, I think the biggest hurdle would be making sure that you have equity in your home in order to do a cash out refi. Like, of course, credit is still important, income is still important, but to do a cash out refi, you have to have equity in your home. You have to be in a position where you bought here and then your house is worth this much, and then you can take advantage of the difference. So when you're doing a conventional refinance, you have to have at least 80% of LTV, which is loan to value, which means how much your loan compared to the value of your home is, right? At that point, you can get rid of mortgage insurance. So we get rid of mortgage insurance, but the difference between the 80% and underneath the property value, that's the money you can pull out, right? So just to do some numbers, 240,000, which is what my mom's house is worth, right? She bought it for, she owes about 85 grand. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna multiply the 240,000 by 0.8, which is 80%. So that's 192,000. So the difference between the 192,000 to what you owe, all of that is equity. All of that you can pull out. Now you might not want to pull all of it out, but that's what you can pull out. So you can roughly pull out about 110, 120, maybe a little bit more depending on what you want to do. But you can pull that cash out, and now what you're going to do is you're going to have a new loan for 190.
Okay.
But now you got the 100 grand.
Yeah, touch on that picture for me again. So let's say you did the 80% of your value, right? So if the house is worth 240, right? 80% of that value was, what was the number you said? 196?
192.
192. So we'll just say 190, right? So 190 is the amount of is the value that you could tap into. So it's 190 minus how much you owe, using this example. And so in this case, let's say you owe $100,000 on the house. So let's say it's $190,000 minus $100,000 that you owe. You can essentially tap into, if you want, you can pull out $90,000 worth of equity, which is cash, real money that you could pull out of that house. Once you pull that out, you'd be looking at a new loan of what you owe plus the 90 that you pulled out, and therefore you have a new loan, or you've refinanced your loan for $190,000, which you just be making mortgage payments on $190,000 worth of house, essentially.
Right.
Right. So, I want to kind of pause there for a second, because without getting too complex, because that's not really what this is about. It's really about introducing an idea. We have information. We're going to, set up some next steps to where you can get in contact with Evan. But how much would it cost you to go get $90,000? If it raises your bill, like based off of interest rates, right? Interest rates tell us about interest rates real quick before you talk on that. This isn't my work. You talk on that.
So interest rates are literally at an all-time low. I'm pricing out people in the low threes. As long as I've been doing this, I haven't seen rates go down that low. Just about 15 years ago, rates were in the 6%, 6-7%, 10 years ago, we were around 4, 5, depending on how things were. But I mean, I haven't seen it I have not seen it this low. So right now is a perfect opportunity to be able to cash in where your property value is way up and then interest rates are really low. Like that's the best combination that you can have right now. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much they can capitalize on this opportunity with the perfect storm.
Yeah. So, and in this example of where we said we could take out $90,000 and you'd have a new loan of $190,000 that you're paying on, that $190,000 loan, because interest rates are so low, you'd have $190,000 worth of mortgage, but your interest rates are as low as there possibly can be or have been. So your monthly payment really may not move that much. Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah, it just kind of depends on when they bought the house and what their percentage was at the time. And most of the time people have mortgage insurance because they didn't put the 20% down. So that helps offset some of the increase. So if your mortgage insurance was $100 and your new mortgage went up $400 or $500, let's just say, well, now you really only went up $400 because the mortgage insurance was taking $100 out of your payment. So you're only seeing an increase of $400, but now you got 90 grand, right? Now you got 90 grand. So you could play with 50. And let's say you lose your job tomorrow. I know we're going off on a tangent, but I just wanted to kind of paint this picture. A lot of things are going on right now, right? Your wife might lose their job. Your son might get sick. You might lose your job or go furlough or deferment or whatever the case might be. But now you got this nice nest egg that you can live off. You know what I'm saying? You can make your monthly payment. For how many months can you make a monthly payment of $1,500 when you got 40 grand in the bank, right?
Absolutely.
You're not gonna lose your house because you got that money to make the payment.
Absolutely.
Where if you didn't do the cash out refi, now you ain't got no money.
Yeah. Now what? So not only, and again, like you said, we went on a tangent, but I really wanted to make sure we paint that picture to show that it's not necessarily free money, right? Because your monthly payment is going to go up because you're rebuilding a new loan. However, if you
wouldn't have access to this money regardless.
Exactly. So for an extra $300 a month on your mortgage, to be able to go get $90,000, you can put away $300 extra from that 90 and go play with 40 to 50 and position that 40, not play with, position yourself with the right consultants, position yourself to be able to go out, take that money, and again, manipulate homeownership to go chase, to finance your dreams, right? That's what this is about. So what's the steps, right? What's the steps? Without getting into too much detail, because the first step is reach out to Evan. But, so people can start to prepare to take advantage of this information, what's the steps, we need to do in order to position ourselves?
So the first step is just to go ahead and contact me. Before I even really pull credit and kind of see where you're at, I'm going to ask you how much do you currently own, how much do you currently owe on your mortgage, and then I'm going to look up, do a rough analysis, and see kind of how much your house is worth now, and see if this is a viable option for you. If I pull up your house and you tell me, you owe $140,000, but the houses in your area are selling for $300, $320. I'm like, all right, check. First step. Then we do a full application. Then I take a look at your credit. Then I take a look at your income. Then I take a look at your debt to income ratio, and then we kind of see where we can go with it, and then see how much cash out you can pull out at that point.
Absolutely. So the process is pretty much how they bought the house by qualifying for a loan or a mortgage. It's pretty much the exact same thing. Is that what you're saying, give or take?
Exactly. That's exactly how it works.
Perfect. So how long, typically, how long is that process from application to, money in the bank? What's a good kind of, and I know it can vary depending on situations, but what's a good kind of round estimate of how long it takes for this process to take from application to money in the bank?
I would say, just to be conservative, between 30 to 45 days. I mean, I've done refis in 20, 21 days. But it just kind of depends on, there's a couple variables, but I mean, within 30 to 45 days, process is done and you're still living in your house. You don't have to move. So it's not like when you originally made the purchase that you're kind of freaking out. I mean, you're in your house already, right? So
Yeah.
we're just kind of waiting for time.
Got you. Got you. That's powerful, man. So what else, to wrap this up, what else do you think is important, for homeowners to know about the cash out, refi process? I know we touched on a few things, but, if you had to kind of put a bow on it, what else do you think is important, if anything?
I really don't think we missed I mean, we don't want to go too much into the details, but what I really want to drive home is, right now, when I said the perfect storm, right? Values are all the way up, interest rates are all the way down. And now you're at the opportunity where you can tap into your equity before property values start to drop, right? Because that's what they're forecasting. That's what they are forecasting. Not what Willie is forecasting, what the market is projected to do. So before the market changes, you want to be able to tap into this equity, because once the property values start to drop, the less equity you have in your home. So once you go ahead and pull that money out, then you're good. But if you don't pull the money out, then you're not going to be able to pull out as much money. And now, if you didn't take the opportunity, like I missed the opportunity to buy those stocks, if you don't take the opportunity to pull this cash out, once things start to drop and they're like, man, I see this property for 140,000 when it was worth 220 just 6 months ago, you can't capitalize on that. So right now is the perfect storm. Property values are here, interest rates are here, and then it's projected to go down, right? So you're in the opportunity where you can pull out cash at the right time and then wait a little bit to be able to do something where you said assets are going to be cheaper to obtain now.
That's a big deal, bro. That's a big deal. And I'm just pulling up some information here because I want to make sure that, we provide them with a easy way to make sure that, we're able to reach out to you. It's the perfect storm. Timing is everything. Timing is everything. And, what a time to be alive. That's how I started out this conversation. What a time to be alive. And if you're one of those people who are in position to take advantage of this, why not? Go get your money before you lose it for about 7 years when it takes to come back up. And guess what? I'm a real estate professional. You can go do your own research, but the market, if you look at the history, the market always corrects. The last time that this thing went down was in 2008. It's 2020. It's time. Rona or no Rona. It's
right.
Right? It's time. So the time is now. It's the perfect storm. Interest rates are at the bottom. Property values are still solid. Let's utilize this time to manipulate home ownership and tap into cash and resources. Obviously, Evan, I want to say thank you, bro, for your time. This was a big deal. I hope that, people were able to take in this information and it made sense. I feel like I'm confident that, those who are watching this, they are more empowered with this information than they were before. Whether or not they're able to take advantage of it now or in the future, there will become a time where this perfect storm, rears its head again, right? It may be another 10 years like it was from '08 to now, right? But for those who are in position, let's take advantage of this. So if you are somebody maybe a good candidate to take advantage of this perfect storm so they can utilize a cash out refi, tap into home ownership to, get the cash and resources that they need to take advantage of a power play, a power move to elevate their life and set themselves up to create generational wealth, because this is what it's about to me. Like, I don't know if y'all can see this shirt. It's about creating my heaven on earth. You know what I'm saying? Create your heaven on earth. And in order to do that, let's be real. The way that they set the game up, it takes capital, right? And we're showing you how the home, you don't have to do anything different. The home you currently live in, if you think about it different, you can tap into cash and resources to go make power plays to create your heaven. You absolutely can, all right? So if you or somebody may be interested in seeing if you qualify or what are the next steps, I want you to text cash out, one word, cash out. I'm gonna have a slide coming here at the end of this presentation with this information. Cash out, no spaces. I want you to text that to 407-559-8232. That's cash out to 407-559-8232. You do that, we're going to get your information. Evan's going to reach out to you. Again, he's going to have that discovery, figure out, if you're in position to take advantage of it. And if you are, you're in good hands. You're in good hands. So again, Evan, thank you for your time. I truly believe this information, when used correctly, can elevate somebody's financial position, and create generational wealth. Again, that's cash out to 407-559-8232. So you can go out there and start manipulating home ownership and, tapping into the cash and resources that are there for you, available for you. So thank you for your time. Hey, y'all go be great out here, man. It's kind of scripted. Yeah.
Willie, man, wanted to say thank you for having me. And I want to let them know that this is kind of like, hindsight is 2020, right? So like, not to go back, but hindsight is 2020. So had you known what you know now in 2008, you would have purchased a house in 2009, 2010, right? So once that window closes, you can't go back and decide to purchase. So right now, once this window closes and property values start to drop and you can't pull that money out, you're going to be like, man, I wish I did it. So at least do the consultation, see what position you're in, do your due diligence, do your homework, and then capitalize on the situation. Willie, man, what you're doing in this platform is great. I want to tell you, continue to do your thing, kind of scripted. I love it. I keep tuning in. And like you said, man, create your heaven on earth. You don't want to wait till you up there,
Big facts, bro. Big facts. Hey, I appreciate you, man. That's love. And y'all be easy, be great. Y'all be great out there. Stay safe. Peace.